What's up, YouTube? Dan the RPG Man here, coming in hot, flustered, and super irate. This game ended up being much more of a chore, with tons of glitches, crashes, and very inconsistent gameplay. Let's dive right in and see how Chris Tales holds up along with getting the platinum. Okay, now that the intro has passed along with enough time, swearing has once again been unlocked. What the hell were the developers thinking here? First, let's set up this game. Chris Tales is made by a Colombian indie game studio, Dreams Uncorporated and Sick. This game is, in the developer's words, a love letter to JRPGs. The game is practically fully voiced, has an active battle system like the Super Mario RPGs, and has a unique time-bending aspect to the gameplay that affects both exploration and battles. Let's look at the battle system first. Chris Tales plays like one of the Super Mario RPGs, where attacking and defending can be augmented by mini QTEs. As it is an RPG, this is a huge fucking problem! Why, you ask? Well, first off, this game is running in the Unity engine. Yeah, that means there are a lot of graphical glitches, gameplay slowdowns, slow loading. Yeah, the game runs horrendously. What does this have to do with battles? Well, each character we control has a basic attack that can hit twice if we time the button push properly or block and reduce damage from incoming attacks. Each extra has a sweet spot where you can get a good by simply hitting the button and a perfect by pressing the button at the right time precisely. For attacks, this does the attack damage exactly twice, while the difference in a block can be reduced from like 50% to like 90%. However, because the game is running in Unity, battles will regularly slow down at crucial junctures and animations, and the animations dictate the timing. You will constantly miss the perfect timing due to this slowdown. Some moves that only inflict a status ailment are inconsistent too. Sometimes getting a normal guard negates the status, while other times even doing a perfect block doesn't prevent the status ailment. This is infuriating, but there are also attacks that are simply unblockable, in which the game doesn't properly communicate which attacks can and can't be blocked. Not only that, but while the game states that the attack must be blocked right as it makes contact, some attacks must be blocked preemptively, as in not only before the attack hits, but also when the attack is in wind-up. Battles take too long to play out as well, since instead of keeping the player characters active in fixed spots, they have to swap to the active spot every turn to take their action. This doesn't seem like much at first, but this adds up over the course of the game, especially in later battles when you're against 5 or more enemies. Never have I wanted a fast forward option in a game before, save for this one. Can the game's story and other gameplay and trophies save it? Let's find out. Our MC is Chrisbel, an orphan girl living in a small town. A Dapper Frog leads us to a cathedral that gifts us time powers. Now, in every actual town, Chrisbel gains the ability to see both the past and the future. This idea is neat, but the practice is terrible. It makes the screen hard to see and read. And Chrisbel herself can't interact with objects in other times. To do so, we must send the Dapper Frog to the past or future to do something. Using the frog, Matthias turns him into a froglet or an old toad, respectively. Either way, he moves incredibly slowly and can only move a certain distance away from Chrisbel. The super slow speed is terrible and another point of infuriation. At least the story has voiced lines for about 85% of the game. Paradise Killer would absolutely have benefited from this. So, after gaining our time powers, the town comes under attack by some goblins, and we meet our first party member, Christopher. We learn that Chrisbel must visit all of the cathedrals in the world to regain her time powers. We team up with the surprisingly young hermit Wilhelm and can start going through the game in full. Oh, also the game has some time shenanigans and highly missable side quests. The only one in the base town is to scum save a medicine to either save someone's house or the apothecary, and the choice locks you out of the other, so you have to save scum. Obviously, saving the apothecary makes more sense than the friend's house. So, we go into the game's first dungeon, where we learn that in dungeons, Chrisbel's time powers don't break up the screen. Instead, she can put enemies that are to the left into the past, and those on the front into the future. This can cause things to happen like removing buffs, advancing Wilhelm's plants to do more damage, advancing poisoned enemies, etc. The idea is cool, but it leads into another annoyance of managing the time via Chrisbel's turns, and the bosses love to waste time by switching sides. Right now we have Chrisbel, who is a cleric with some decent regular attacks, heals, and some buffs. Christopher is a battle mage, great for basic attacks and high magic damage. Then there's Wilhelm, who is basically just good at support, healing and inflicting bad statuses on enemies. So, dungeons are pretty basic, and this one has a fight towards the end that you're not supposed to win, but if you do, you can get a bonus item, So, thanks to some save scumming and some good RNG, I finally did it. Now we can make it to St. Clarity, Christopher's hometown, where the city is divided into the rich and the poor, with the lower levels flooding periodically, which can be annoying as the water pushes you around a lot. We find out that the city is corrupt with a bad leader, and the Church of the Lady has been repurposed and the important stained glass is gone. We can find the dump out the town's backside and meet Paulina, the sentient statue like the Statue of Liberty. She has the glass and can restore Crisbel's powers. Then we gotta save the town, heading to a new dungeon to take out the mining machine that is not only harvesting the magic powder to sell, it is also murdering townsfolk. Once it goes down, we sneak back into town, make our way through the sewers, and when we finally confront the Despo Enzo, he wants to put us in jail. We then get trapped in the sewers, fight a weirdo beast that tries to trick us, and get rescued. Now we have to take a detour to complete 3 side quests, as, again, they are missable. This entails delivering flowers to a memorial, helping the inventor make a new machine, and finding out what happens to a sneaky townsperson. Make sure you are slightly overpowered here, as you will need to defeat the boss here 3 times. Once prepared, we can fight Enzo, who is pretty easy, even though he can heal by stealing the life of his wolf minions. Once he falls, the main villain, the Time Empress, appears and brutally extinguishes Enzo. Then, we get the choice that we had to save Scum for, which is whether we make Christopher's dad or mom the city leader. The dad supports the poor district, and we see he neglects the rich, while the mom does the opposite. Only by doing the side quests can we propose to form a council where both parents can lead, which is required for the true ending. Making our way to the next region, we make our way to frigid Nevatulira, where Wilhelm used to teach. We head to the cathedral that isn't in town, it's located in the salt mines, and discover that the stained glass has been damaged, so Crisbel can't get her powers yet. We also learn that the matriarch of the head family here has mysteriously perished, and the new acting head is clearly evil. We dive into the museum to try and find some answers, along with discovering a prisoner there and a strange burned book. I also got a trophy for having an enemy with 5 status changes. We learned that to fix the mural, the town artisan needs a special mineral found from the nearby magic lake, which we can loot. Towards the end, we get the new and worst party member, JKR721. K here absolutely sucks. His gimmick is that he can attack 3 times to a single enemy, and has no MP. Instead, he has an overheat gauge that when filled will cause him to burst, always damaging himself and those close to him. There's even a trophy for having his overheats defeat the whole party. Not only is his damage too low, making him a terrible glass cannon, but he is constantly in danger. Not to mention, he causes the most glitches. Having him in the active party constantly makes the game run slower, causes glitches, freezes, and crashes. And he alone consistently crashed the game every time I used him to attack Chrisbel. Having him here also reveals the annoyance that when members leave or are not in the battle party of 3, they gain no experience from anything. This means characters can and will fall off very quickly as they won't be gaining levels. Also, Chrisbel must always be in the battle party. With this done, we can get our new time powers that let us modify the time of objects in dungeons, sending them to the past or the future, which sounds cool, but is really lame in practice. Once this power is gained, the game becomes more annoying as the interact areas for objects and chests seem to be off. Sometimes the prompt doesn't appear when you're right next to it, but other times it will prompt for the object you're far away from rather than the one that you're next to. We also find out what was special about the book, how the twins of the main family used dark magic to try to revive something that is now posing as the matriarch, along with helping a pompous ass stop being a prick and get the girl he loves. We also help the town decorate the floats for the parade, and get the last keychain item type for another trophy. With this done, we learn the evidence we need is down in the salt mines to help reconstruct a witness, timeless relics of advanced tech. This includes Kay, Paulina, and Buki, whom we rescued from the museum. When we first get to the salt mines proper, we must turn around and go back to town in order to get the final side quest that only unlocks after we unlock the salt mines. But it becomes locked shortly after completing the salt mines. Terrible fucking game design. We get to the bottom and have to fight Buki, who mandates having Christopher in the party, as when Buki turns intangible, she can only be harmed by magic, which only Christopher has. Once she falls, we escape, complete the final side quest here, which is necessary to make the right choice, and can end this area, fighting the evil, life-stealing bird. She's not hard, just annoying because she heals too much. When she falls, we can choose to use the money to help both the museum and the academy, getting a double whammy of trophies and another piece of the true ending. We then go to Cinder, home of the goblin folk, where we see the fire princesses call this place home. Christopher gets a disease in town, incapacitating him for a long time, so we lose our main mage and either Kay or Wilhelm, while gaining our next permanent party member, Zaz. Zaz is an all-rounder. She can do all magic elements, do multiple buffs and debuffs, heal the whole party, and can have the highest damaging regular attack in the game. The only problem is she is an RNG nightmare, as all of her specials, save one, are based on a roulette, and her basic attack can have 4 possible outcomes, with 3 being good and 1 being a dud. The roulette is partially easy. Whenever you stop it, it will move about 40 degrees past where the finger is pointing down when you hit the button. However, her basic attack has 4 options: a hammer, a big hammer, a squeaky hammer, and a bomb. The bomb and hammer do Zaz's base damage, but the bomb hits all enemies on the side attacked, while the hammer only hits 1. The big hammer works like a critical, doing at least 50% more damage baseline, while the squeaky hammer does no damage and only inflicts confuse, making it next to worthless as no bosses remain that can be confused. There are also times where the roulette gets placed behind the party members, so the already ambiguous and nonsensical symbols get blocked so that you can't time the roulette. Zaz pretty much becomes a permanent fixture here, and you'll need Wilhelm for the coming boss, as poison is really needed, and fire heals them. As we make our way to find the doctor curing the disease, we get attacked by the fire princesses. They are super annoying, as our main damage dealer and shield corroder is gone. So we have to deal with one boss that is very fast and another who takes nearly no damage from physical skills. K's overheat would murder us and heal them, so he should not be used here at all. This boss took me over an hour to beat, as when I finally had the winning group, she kept healing too much, so it took forever for her to go down. And I'm not using Zaz's magic roulette, as the fire could heal her. Terrible fight due to removing our key party member. We then confront the princesses at their castle in town, where we convince them to let us help cure the disease. Of course, this can only happen if we shut down the special forge. To do so, we have to fight another witness, who claims to have made several of our party's weapons, in a mildly tough fight. Once the forge falls, we can shut it down, and can start up some side quests. We help the smith repair the levees, which even the trophy description misspells. We find a cure for the disease and get Christopher and Kay back. We help the mayor's widow reconcile with the princesses, and we cure the other town of all of the sick, and help reunite a talisman with his wife, who is now cured. During this, I also got the trophy for having performed 500 perfect hits. With this, we can finish this area fighting Zaz's sister, Kari Hundo, who isn't hard, but her battle takes forever to complete, because she constantly switches sides, and her abilities take extremely long to activate. Though, funnily enough, like half of them are straight up duds. Once she falls, we get the choice to activate both town defenses to save them from the lava tsunami, netting us 2 trophies. We can then head to the final town area of Crystallis, where the Empress has ravaged it. Here we get the final time ability, which doesn't do much, and can face the Time Empress, the hardest and most annoying challenge of the game. The first time is another scripted loss, after which Wilhelm sacrifices himself and he's gone for the rest of the game. So I hope you fully upgraded his weapon. After this, because Wilhelm is gone and the orphanage head also perished, Crispell attempted to restore the head, but instead made Kari a child who joins us. Kari joins us at level, has a basic attack that can hit all enemies on one side twice, and has the ability to steal certain enemy souls to use their powers. Some are great, and some suck. With a party of Zaz, Crispell, and Kiri, we can fight the Time Empress, the worst boss of the game. She wastes a ton of time warping from side to side, which does nothing of merit, and the time change doesn't do anything to her. So what the fuck is the point? The Time Empress can cast regen on herself, letting her heal an obscene amount of health passively, which sucks. So you must manipulate the turn order so that Crispell can regress the boss. The boss herself is only annoying, though. She's not that dangerous. Sure, she has an attack that automatically cuts your health in half, and also an attack that reduces the whole party to 1 HP. Yeah, this fight sucks due to the bullcrap. Also, if this 1 HP attack makes K overheat, then you automatically lose. Have I mentioned how much this game design sucks? We beat her, but somehow the Empress still manages to blow up the whole world, all 4 islands. So, our Dapper Froggy, who disappeared briefly, convinces us to use a machine to travel to the past. We can only go back to the recruitment of Kari, though. So now we have a large section of padding where we have to return to the 4 prior towns to deactivate 4 sets of ruins, doing a ton of backtracking and repeat boss fights to deactivate 4 terminals. Once that is done, we can take out the Empress again without issue. But our Dapper Froggy friend is like, finally, the one bitch that can stop me is gone. Now I can take over the world and wipe out humanity. I fucking told you the frog was evil! This also prevents us from using Time Hop, so I hope you got all of the chests in town. So now we need to go back to all 4 towns, get 4 random-ish NPCs, to then go back to all 4 terminals, which now have mini-dungeons and 4 more bosses, where we fight Kay, Paulina, Baki, and the Forge. This is also where the last piece of equipment hides for a trophy. You better not have sold any others and have been buying all the equipment in town. If you ever get a game over, you will have the option of giving up to make Crispell turn into the Time Empress and enact the plan, leading to a bad ending. Hunting souls with Kari will net you a trophy referencing Pokemon. And you'll also need to grind out beating 20 of every slime, with white slimes needing to be beat on turn 1, otherwise they transform. White slimes also give a ton of EXP and money, so they're great to grind on. If you have the updates, Artie will join as a party member, though I didn't care to use her. There is also a Coliseum of 30 enemy waves with some bullshit from refighting the Time Empress and the final boss with extra enemies, and if you lose, you have to do them all over again. But this is necessary for Crispell to fully upgrade her weapon. And there's an extra dungeon that I only visited because it glitched all my treasure chest trophy. Fighting the final boss, he's not too bad as long as you have equipment that prevents you from being burned, can block consistently well, and use coffee to prevent stuns. If Kari has the Salt Mimic Soul, she can copy Crispell or Zaz, letting her be great at damage and support. If you get burned and get hit with the move that puts your whole party at 1 HP, it's automatically game over. Great fucking design! So, the boss can either auto-kill you with burns, or he can lock you out of moves by stunning you, both of which bypass the perfect block. At least this boss can't heal. If you did everything right, you'll get a double whammy of trophies. One for taking him down, and another for seeing the true ending after doing all the side quests. Either way though, the ending fucking sucks. Crispell ceases to exist, and everyone else goes home. By this point, the only trophies I needed were for 500 perfect blocks, of which I had to set up a battle where my party couldn't fall, and the enemy could only do one attack that is easy to block. Even though with the same timing it sometimes wouldn't work, where I had to grind out 124 perfect blocks for the trophy to finally pop. Then all that was left was to beat the Coliseum, which was a huge pain due to 3 fights taking for fucking ever to beat, along with extreme cheapness like the Time Empress starting the fight by putting you at 1 HP and the bug thing attacking all the party in a single turn. And yet, somehow, I got met with the unfortunate glitch that prevents the All Weapons Maxed trophy from popping, despite me clearly having all weapons maxed. So I was fucking robbed of the platinum at the last possible minute! Fuck this game! So this game is a technical mission complete. I only didn't get it due to a fucking glitch, since the updates broke the game even more. The game is incredibly inconsistent and is very frustrating. Enemy variety is very low, gameplay mechanics sometimes go nowhere or don't do enough to warrant using them, characters fall off very quickly, enemies don't give nearly enough EXP, and there wasn't a single point where the frequency of entering battles felt correct. It was only ever too frequent at the very beginning, before Crispell learns Heal, and then afterwards, it felt like you weren't getting enough battles to level up enough to prepare for the next boss, with the encounter rate feeling highly reduced. The art style is at least nice, but I don't like that there's no auto-advance for the text. It'd be nice to have the dialogue read to me and advance better. And though towards the end of the game, the dialogue got so bad, boring, and repetitive, I ended up reading it faster and skipping it. Plus, there was a scene where I misclicked, and it skipped like 5 minutes of dialogue. Yeah, the game design sucks. It's constantly at odds with itself. It has a ton of backtracking, no fast travel, lackluster enemy variety. Honestly, the game, story, and everything makes me feel like this could have been a $5 max mobile game rather than a $40 indie console release. Nearly every idea that the game has that is interesting isn't fleshed out enough, and the engine makes the tried and true system run like ass. It's like when you try to emulate an old game and there's new input lag or random slowdown because it's not done properly on native hardware. So, while I was initially interested, the game ended up sucking a lot. So the Platinum is a 4 out of 10 due to the glitches and crashes, with a ton of missables due to the absolute asinine level design and backtracking, with real issues showing up for the combat, and having 2 trophies tied to actually getting a game over. As for the patented Dan the Ranking Man scale, the game is a 32 out of 100. It runs poorly, the story gets repetitive and predictable, the gameplay gets worse as the game goes on, and there are simply too many problems that prevent this game from even being Canadian. So, like, hype, subscribe, comment down below what you liked about this game or what you hated, and stay tuned to see if the final game for this month, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, turns this month into a technical mission complete or a mission failed. And remember, only losers would pay $40 for this game.